What's going on, everybody? It's Kilo, and we are back for another episode of the Regular Podcast on the Regular Network. It's real. All right, y'all. What's going on, man? We back cracking. How's everybody's week? I've been cool. I've been chilling. Once again, we are back to the pre-recorded schedule. So, hope y'all liked the last week's edition. That was my first time doing that in a long time. And it feels better to do it like that. I mean, I prefer that. You know, live streaming thing is cool. I know Benny, shout out to Benny across the Atlantic Ocean, been asking for the live stream. A few people have been. I'll figure something out. I'll figure out something I can do where I could go live. You know what I'm saying? Maybe once or twice a week. I might take the live thing on the road with me or something. Maybe I'll just do a little live from my phone or something. Just try to give y'all an update on what I got going on. But as far as doing like full live streams where I go through all the topics and all that type of stuff, it's going to be a minute before I get back to that. All right. So shout out to y'all. Please make sure you like the video before we do anything else. Like the video. Comment your thoughts below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. All this good stuff, right? It's a lot going on in the week, in the world this week. But first thing I want to do is give y'all a little, you know, what I went through in therapy this week is funny because so I'm thinking like, yo, I'm gonna tell the therapist that I've been working on plans for the future, like professional plans and career goals and business goals, stuff like that. So I'm letting them know I'm running this whole thing down. Like, yeah, I've been mapping everything out, planning, just, you know, goal setting, stuff like that. I just want to reach my goals, all this type of things, right? He sat there, he listened. He was like, okay. Tell me about your ex. Like, where did that relationship go wrong at? I'm talking about like it was completely unrelated to what I was talking about when it came to my goals and stuff like that. He just went straight into, you know what I mean? Tell me about your ex. Tell me where things went wrong at. Tell me where y'all was doing X, Y, Z. So really, he didn't really tell me why he just didn't say much about my professional ideologies and my concepts of setting goals and hitting our goals and focusing on that instead of the relationship stuff, right? But it hit me after I was done with therapy that maybe another thing about the therapist, his specialty is really in like substance abuse, people who are recovering addicts and stuff like that. And I had a background issues with alcohol abuse and stuff like that, right? So it hit me later that maybe what he was trying to get at is that he doesn't think the best thing for me would be to bury myself in work and get more reclusive and get more emotionally detached from people and stuff like that and only focusing on money and getting money and stuff like that. So it hit me like, okay, so he wants me to like not only work on building this life and career and goals and getting money and all this. In his mind, I should also be working on finding a partner to share this whole thing with, right? Or if not sharing it with like some new partner, but rekindling and fixing it with my old partner, stuff like that. That's what he was pretty much getting. That he didn't say this, but this is what it hit me after a while. He was thinking, oh, it wouldn't be healthy for you to go do all of this stuff and completely ignore your emotional state and your emotional well-being. So I'm like, damn, okay. This is what I took away from the session because he really didn't want to talk about my professional aspirations at all. He went straight relationship stuff and stuck there pretty much the whole rest of the session. I was talking about that the rest of the time. So I'm like, okay, I guess as a person that, like a substance abuse counselor and knowing that I'm somebody with that in my background, he's probably like, I've seen this before. These types of things normally lead a person back down the path of some type of substance abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, something like that, because the stress gets overwhelming, and that's something that is ineluctable. It's inevitable. You can't avoid it, right? So I'm like, all right, he didn't even have to say it. I'm just going to take that in and just realize that the professional that I decided to work with is pretty much letting me know and that's not to say I'm not going to focus on my professional goal setting, right? But only focusing on working and being a dad is not the way forward healthily, right? So I'm going to make sure I don't ignore my adult companionship side of myself. So if anybody else who's not paying for therapy, or I'm not paying for it, but anybody else who's not using insurance to get therapy and stuff like that is also in a similar situation as me, and you needed a free nugget, you got that free nugget from me via my therapist, right? But I would say overall, if anybody wanted to know, I would say therapy right now is going good for me. I don't recommend it for everybody, and I don't recommend any type of all types of therapies for all type of people. You got to find the one that works for you. Maybe multiple kinds work for different people or work for you. But I think that for each one of our emotional state and our emotional disposition, that there's probably more than likely a specific type of therapy that works best for you and your healing. So I think you should get out there and find that. It might not be a therapist. It might be something else. You understand what I'm saying? Because really what I found is that it's not even that I am getting some tools like stress reduction tools and anxiety reduction tools and stuff like that from the dude. But most of it is not really me having a bunch of aha moments type of thing. You understand? It's really just me saying out loud stuff that I had been known for a long time, but I just ain't never really have anybody to say it to type of thing. See what I'm saying? So that's really, it's just giving me an outlet to say, okay, I can express it here. I don't really need to say it anywhere else. I don't get the urge to tell anybody else this type of thing. You know what I'm saying? The things I can share. And then I'm cool. Like, it's a good decompression type of thing for me. You understand? So it works for me. No other therapist in the past that I worked with, it didn't work any other time I tried it. But this, I found the type of person that worked for me. So another thing as we intro into the show, I wanted to let y'all know, I'm coming with 2 new segments. I'll be doing segments and things like that throughout the show, but I'm coming with 2 new regular segments, things that I want to do every single week with y'all, and I hope y'all will really engage with me on this whole thing, right? I'm going to do a case of the week because I had a lot of people do my survey. If you go into the description below, you will see that there's a link to a survey. You can fill that survey out. It'll ask you a few questions, mainly about what you would like to see on this channel, what type of stuff, what type of content you want to see me make, right? But a lot of the majority of what people are asking for me to cover are legal cases. So, and that people feel I'm good at it. I'm interested in it. I do think I'm good at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm adding a case of the week. So pretty much every single week, I'm going to go out there, find a case that I think is interesting, and we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of the case and see what we can figure out. Or maybe I might just introduce y'all to a case you might not have heard of, and we can just look at the details of it together. We might not do a full deep dive on it like we have done in cases in the past, but it's just something that's just interesting. Let's just look at just random cases all throughout maybe they could be a federal case or a state case, or maybe we find international cases, criminal and civil, right? And we'll try to keep them modern. If we do find like an older, interesting case, we might look into that too. Maybe we were following some case and they brought up a case law, and then that was some interesting, trial or case or whatever like that. We'll get into that. But whatever it is, we'll do a different case every week and call it the case of the week. I really hope that y'all get into that. I hope that people send me suggestions. I hope that people will really comment on it. Let me know what they think about the case of the week and really get the engagement going when it comes to that, because that's the thing that people said they wanted to see the most, talking about legal cases, right? Of course, everything else that I'm into, that I'm interested in talking about, will be talked about as well. And then the other regular segment that I want to discuss every week is the regular debate of the week. Now, I've been trying to get this debate thing going for so long on this podcast, and people just don't really want to do it. But hopefully, if I just keep on pushing it, like eventually some point, people will say that they want to get involved with it, right? And it's not really me debating y'all. It would be me putting the stance out there. I'll give the scenario, and then you pick a side. Like, pick a side and make your argument. You could do it in the comments. You could say, hey, Kilo, I need to call in. I need you to hear what I'm saying about this thing. I'm going to take calls. We take calls through Discord, whatever. But I want to do a debate of the week. So whether I get feedback or not on it, every week I'm going to give a different scenario, and I want people to debate it. What I really want to do is eventually start moderating debates. I've seen some people, most recently I seen some people on Twitter. It was Marcel Scott, I think his last name is, not Marcel Scott, I can't think of his name. Marcel, part of the ADOS movement in South Carolina. And then another person that was pretty much supporting black people setting up coalitions with brown people to, stop ICE raids and all this type of stuff. Anyway, they wanted to debate each other. And I'm like, yo, y'all need to let me moderate that debate. So this is pretty much what I want to get into, is eventually start moderating debates on here, hosting debates. I want to get some good debates cracking. So if you are into that and you want to get into it, please, I think that debate segment will be the one for you. But we'll call that the regular debate of the week, and we'll do a regular case of the week, right? So 2 new segments coming, and of course, they will be part of today's episode, or right now, this episode right here. So excuse me. So stay tuned to that, man. We will get into it. Thanks again for watching this episode of the Regular Podcast. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Y'all like this shirt, man? Hold on. Well, of course y'all don't like it. Y'all can't even see it. No hoodie today. I got the arms out. I got a small shirt. This is just like a night shirt, a shirt I just wear around the house, but I do like it. This shirt came from Iwi Fresh. Shout out to Miss Yolanda Owens. She passed away, but she was a business owner, a pillar in the Castleberry Hills neighborhood of Atlanta, running Iwi Fresh since 2008. Her kids run it now. Her daughter runs it now. So, you know what I mean? Y'all support that if you're ever in Atlanta. They're in the Lakewood area now, the one location. All right. First thing I wanted to get into today was Kendrick Lamar and SZA have found a way to break massive amounts of records when it comes to touring, and it's actually crazy. Okay, it's actually crazy. Let's read this. Kendrick Lamar and SZA's Grand National Tour is now the highest grossing joint tour in history. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's the highest grossing joint tour in history, and this article came out before they even started their European tour leg of the tour. They put this article out after they finished the North American part of the tour, right? Let's read. The duo was bringing the engagement to Europe, the UK, and Australia later this year, 2025. It's a nice picture right there. Okay, summary. Kendrick Lamar and SZA's Grand National Tour is now the highest grossing co-headline tour ever. Do y'all hear it? It's not the highest grossing rap tour. It's not the highest grossing rap and R&B tour. It's not the highest grossing R&B tour. It's not the highest grossing black tour. It's the highest grossing co-headlining tour ever. And there have been a lot of co-headlining tours. Highest grossing co-headlining tour ever. Kendrick's last 14 months have been generational. Do you hear what I'm saying? And this is only halfway through. Look at this. It has grossed $254.6 million and sold 1.1 million tickets from just 23 shows. 23 shows. This is what a stadium tour is like. 23 shows, and they grossed $254.6 million. That's crazy. That's a little bit over 10 million per show. That's unreal. The tour also makes Lamar the rapper with the biggest stadium tour in history. Biggest stadium tour in history as a rapper. This is the biggest rap stadium tour in history. First of all, most rappers can't even do a stadium tour. Okay, so let's just start there. There's only a few rappers who in history could have done a stadium tour, and it's like Kendrick, Drake, Kanye. That's it. That's the end of the list. Honestly, unless we're gonna call something else a stadium, but essentially Kendrick, Kanye, Drake. That's the list, and that's in history. There's nobody. Jay-Z can't do a stadium tour. Lil Wayne can't do a stadium tour. Biggie couldn't have done one. Pac couldn't have done one. Eminem could probably do one. Eminem probably could do one. But all right, so let's say Eminem. All right, Kendrick, Eminem, Drake, Kanye. That's the list. All right. We know Kanye could, even though Kanye has never done one, we know Kanye can do one because Kanye was putting out the Ye album, right? And in one day, he was putting the tickets up for one day at a stadium and was selling out the stadium in a day. So Kanye is just unreal when it comes to influence. So he could do it. Billboard reports the pair's ongoing engagement grossed $254.6 million. And this it's one of 2 joint tours to surpass the $200 million USD mark and one of 4 to cross $100 million. Jay-Z and Beyonce on the Run is the other tour that hit $200 million. Now, think about this. Think about this. This is Jay-Z, the most successful rapper of all time, but most of his success did not come from rap. And this is Beyonce, who is considered the top female, the top musician probably on the planet right now, right? Definitely as far as performance goes, right? Even Jay-Z and Beyonce together, the power couple of all power couples, even them two together in the entertainment industry, hit 200 million. And Kendrick, that's a world tour, by the way. And that was the second world tour that they did. Kendrick and SZA are past it already and haven't even gotten into their European run yet. Think about that. That means when this tour is over, Kendrick and SZA's tour will dwarf Jay-Z and Beyonce's. By the way, Kendrick is way more successful inside of rap than Jay-Z was. And that's not a knock to Jay-Z. Jay-Z is my favorite rapper. But inside of rap accomplishments, although Jay-Z has more Grammys, Kendrick pretty much has more everything else. Okay? From rap. I'm talking about just from rap. In addition, this makes Dot the rapper with the biggest stadium tour in history. The Grand National Tour is also the biggest concert run in both Amar and SZA's career so far. The tour, this is a crazy one. The tour's SoFi Stadium stops earned the biggest gross in attendance of the tour so far, earning $40 million USD from 147,000 tickets for just 3 shows. That's May 21st, May 23rd, May 24th. They made $40 million from 3 days, from 3 shows. That's unreal. Lamar and SZA have concluded the tour's North America run and will hit up Europe, UK, and Australia later this year. So think about this. 256 million, and they haven't even started the international run yet. They did Canada, but they haven't even started the Europe, the overseas, Europe, UK, and Australia. They ain't even hit them joints yet. And Europe, they got some humongous stadiums over there. Australia, they got some humongous, like 100,000 people in one stadium type shit, right? That's just crazy. I wanted to start out with that because that's a major accomplishment, and this is not even just like. This is huge entertainment news. It's not just black news, but this is news for the history of music. Because, again, it's the biggest co-headlining tour ever now. Of any genre, of any race, of anything. It's the biggest. All right? So y'all let me know what y'all feel about that, man. They are saying, right, by the time this tour is complete, it will have passed Drake's record as the biggest rap tour in history. Drake's record for the biggest rap tour currently is like 320 million, something like that. But they're saying that this one will, once it's complete, they're about 100 million away still. But once it's complete, it will be close to about 370 something million dollars. Right? Or maybe more than that, but it'll be the biggest. If they keep selling out every show, it will have been the biggest tour in rap history. And Drake currently holds that record. Now, the funny thing about it is Drake had a line a few years ago where he said, you Eddie Murphy. No, he said, you number one and I'm Eddie Murphy. We trading places, right? When Drake said that, he was talking about Kendrick, because Kendrick and Drake do continuously go back and forth when it comes to these, who's number one, who's the top, who's the biggest, they keep going back and forth. So with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick went on tour, 2023. He went on tour, set the record for the highest grossing hip hop tour in history. It was like $100 and something million, right? Then Drake drops whatever that album was. He dropped the album with 21 Savage, right? He drops that album, then he goes on tour 2023 and 24. Pretty much 2024, right? He sets a new record, but he dwarfs Kendrick's total, right? He does a much bigger world tour, but it was huge. It was like a $320 million gross tour. It was huge, right? And now Kendrick comes back just a year after Drake sets that record and is about to break his record again. So this is why I say, like, there's not really a big three. They put Cole in there because of Cole's rapping ability, but there's really only a big two. There is no third person that's even anywhere near these people. Drake and Kendrick are like way, way, way up here. Everybody else, the next closest person to those two people is so far down, they really shouldn't even be considered. It shouldn't be considered a big three. There is no big three. Okay. There is a big two, and everybody needs to be comfortable with that. Everybody is so stuck, not everybody, but a lot of people so stuck on the whole who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas, that whole thing that Jay-Z said some years back, and they think that there needs to be some three-headed thing. There's no three right now. There's a two. That's it. You understand what I'm saying? There's two, and there's nobody else close to these two people. Like we haven't even heard, like these people are playing, when we talk about some of the biggest tours ever, and they're doing them back to back to back, like with each other. You see what I'm saying? Like they are just one upping each other every step of the way. Kendrick has been active in the mainstream. We'll say Good Kid, Mad City, 2012, right? Because Section 80, even though like I knew about it across the country, I was in Virginia, he was in LA or in Compton. I knew about it, but it was still kind of underground a little bit, right? So we'll say 2012, Good Kid, Mad City is when he went mainstream. In the last 13 years since he put that album out, he has like 22 Grammys and 5 albums. That's unreal. He has some of the biggest tours in rap history in just 5 albums. He's only in his 30s right now. You see what I'm saying? So it's very, his career has been unprecedented. And then what Drake is doing with streaming has been unprecedented. The deals that Drake has made with labels have been unprecedented, right? Somebody put a video out a few days ago saying that Drake got a $400 million deal from Universal and recouped it in 2 years. 400 million recouped, and he really said like a year to 2 years. So he said like a year and a half. Drake recouped a $400 million deal in a year and a half. I don't know how he knew that, but that's what he's putting out there. And supposedly that's why Drake and UMG is beefing like that, because Drake has recouped his money too fast in a deal he's about to get from the next label, which they said was Sony, I believe, is about to be just otherworldly. $800 million, $1 billion, whatever it is. So like I said, these two people are so far ahead of everybody else that it's just not even, and we're talking about straight music success. We're not talking about any other businesses that they run on the side, real estate, champagne, liquors. No, we're not talking about none of that. It's just straight up music business going on with these two. They are on a run that is unreal. And they are pretty much seeming that they're being fueled by the competition of each other and of the other one. You understand? So it's kind of like they sound like fans have just put J. Cole in it because J. Cole has a massive American fan base. So their fans are putting J. Cole with them. But they seem to be not even paying too much attention to J. Cole, other than the fact that they're both cool with him. They are aiming directly at each other. It seems that they have never, first of all, Drake has never thought Kendrick was as good as him or better than him. And Kendrick has never thought Drake was as good as him or better than him, right? And they don't seem to care about anybody else. They just seem to be focused, like hyper focused on each other. Now, it's not just Drake, it's not just Kendrick. They are both hyper focused on each other for years. They have been responding to each other, dissing each other, sneak dissing each other, taking shots. And look where we are. It's crazy. It's crazy. But shout out to them, man. Shout out to Kendrick and SZA, man. SZA being in the middle of all this, doing music with Drake and Kendrick actively within the last like 15 months. I mean, she's wild for that, honestly. But shout out to her, because when you're that big as an R&B artist, you can do that. I mean, SZA is unreal too. Like her run is very crazy. I mean, she is putting out an album, like she's putting years in between her albums, and her music is still some of the biggest R&B music to come out in the last decade. So SZA is nothing to be, you don't sneeze at the SZA's impact on this tour either, like for real. In other entertainment news, I had so Diddy, we covered Diddy's verdict, right? And by the way, y'all let me know what y'all think about Kendrick and SZA's tour. Y'all put your thoughts in the comments. But and Diddy's verdict came out, and I did the live stream once he was found guilty of 2 counts, which is the Mann Act against both Jane Doe and Cassandra Ventura, right? And after that was going on, I didn't realize, like, there was a lot of mixed emotions, and I didn't realize how much so many women would take it as Diddy coming out is a loss for them. It makes sense, I guess, but I didn't realize that the public would feel that way. A lot of people are on Diddy's side, for sure. They support what he's got going on. But I did not realize that so many women would take it like that, though. Not to say they're wrong. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying I wasn't paying attention in that way to realize it. I thought Lunel put out a good post, and I'm not mad at the women for feeling like that. I don't think, though, Diddy does not represent your average predator, even though people do feel like the average predator does go without being punished. But I think for the most part, Diddy has been exposed on a level that most predators do not get exposed. See, that's the thing about it is I think a lot of victims don't come forward because they just assume that the predator would not be in trouble, or they wouldn't get in trouble. I say he, but they, because it could be man or woman, would not be punished. But I do think that victims should continue to come forward and tell their story, you know what I'm saying, expose whatever happened. And you can't really look at you can't look at these celebrity cases and just say, oh, this person that did XYZ to me is not going to get in trouble because look at Diddy. Diddy is a billionaire with access to lawyers that these people will never have access to. Okay, so you got to think about it. Like, if somebody does something to you, like out of pocket, still say something. And whether you say something to the police or say something to your family members to let them know, hey, go hurt that person, whatever it is, but don't just go forward just assuming that nobody is going to step in and help you out, because you have to say something. You think like, oh, they should know. People don't know unless you tell them. You got to say something. You got to tell them, and you can't be vague. Not to say give every little sexual detail. I'm saying you can't be vague about who it is. You have to say, this person, John Doe, did this thing to me, and I didn't want him to do it. You got to be specific. You know what I'm saying? Tell people the name of the person that did it and let it go like that. Or you could just tell the police. You know what I'm saying? But don't take what's going on in Diddy's case as a way, as a sign that victims shouldn't speak out. This is no go. I saw and who was it that put that out? I wanted to say it was it Carl Cherry or Matthew Cherry? I don't know. I saw some like popular Twitter account. He went viral because he tweeted. So I guess the hotel video didn't mean anything, or it didn't mean nothing. And I was thinking like, the hotel video meant something, but the case didn't have anything to do with. The case wasn't a domestic violence or an assault case. Had Diddy been locked up had he been charged with assault, there would be no way to be it because it's on that video. Now, I do think what's interesting is that he was able to beat the racketeering charge when it comes to that video, not the assault itself, but the fact that he bribed the hotel employees to get them not to give the video to the police. Now, if you commit a crime, which is so pretty much with Cassie trying to leave and then him like beating her up and then dragging her back, that's pretty much kidnapping, right? So you have the kidnapping on camera, and then you have bribery to cover up the kidnapping. Those are two. I'm thinking, I don't know. I didn't have any legal consultation with this, but I'm thinking those could be the two overt acts to get you a conviction in the conspiracy, right? So I was confused by that because I thought that they proved that one very easily. I don't know. I did see that one of the jurors, he was like an alternate juror. He actually came out and has been doing interviews, and he was pretty much saying like, hey, when this was happening, all the jury members were on the same page. We didn't believe it. We thought it was BS. They pretty much, the jurors thought it was BS. A lot of the stuff the prosecution was presenting. They thought it was a lot of consensual stuff. They were seeing videos that the public didn't have access to. And they said this stuff didn't look forced. It didn't look forced. It looked consensual. It looked like everybody was enjoying themselves. It just looked weird. That's pretty much what they were saying. It's just weird, but it wasn't forceful. It wasn't like nobody was trying to escape. That's what the alternate juror said. So I thought it was wow. You know, but like I said, when you're dealing with celebrity, you're dealing with an element that is completely unpredictable. You can have a celebrity that's very well hated and they get convicted no matter what they do. And then you could have a celebrity like Diddy who was very well loved. They won't get convicted. That's like R. Kelly in 2008. You understand? Like there was no way in that time that he was going to get convicted. And he was literally on camera doing what he was doing. It just was the time and the celebrity. And then it was in Chicago. So it was no way. Like just like Diddy, this case is in New York City, and this is his first case like this. Now, let's just say Diddy feels untouchable like R. Kelly did and continues his pattern of racketeering behavior. You better believe that they're going to come with a new case and they're going to try to slam dunk it like they did with R. Kelly the second time around. I have a feeling that Diddy is going to be intelligent enough to not do what he was doing before again. Okay, he should find prostitutes in his own town. He should find women that are willing to do the things that he wants them to do, and not just that he has to force them to do any of it. So he better be smart this time around. One thing I thought was extremely weird though, after the verdict came out from Diddy's trial, people was outside that New York courthouse. These New Yorkers, y'all are a different breed of weird. Y'all a different type of weird. They was outside that courthouse pouring baby oil on themselves in celebration, like dancing around, pouring baby oil on themselves and each other and stuff. It wasn't like a lot of people, but it was enough to be ridiculous, right? Well, is everybody okay? Pouring baby, I don't care how much of a fan of Puff you are, right? Pouring baby oil on yourself because he beat a case, and really, he still got 2 convictions that he can go face up to 20 years in prison for. Pouring baby oil on yourself because he beat a case, and it's a nasty ass case too, so it ain't even really nothing to celebrate. It's disgusting. There's nothing to celebrate. People are weird, man. When it comes to celebrities, people get extremely strange. I don't understand why. I mean, I know why, because people are obsessed with celebrities, but it's just weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know another way to put it. And people, it would behoove you to not be so weird and give celebs that much praise and support. That's called idolatry. If you are into religion, if you are into Christianity, idolatry is a problem. Okay? Pouring baby oil on yourself because he beat a case where he was being a nasty person is a little weird. Not a little weird. It's very weird. It's damn near weirder than what he was doing. Because you don't have nothing to do with it. You just outside pouring baby oil on yourself, gyrating in front of cameras and stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's no need to be that strange. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. No need to be that strange. And then that takes me right into the next situation, because now that the floodgates have been opened by the case that Cassie has brought upon the world, she has brought this case upon the world. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not mad at her for bringing, you know what I mean? If you feel like somebody did you wrong, you need to get your money up out of them, do what you got to do. I'm not mad at Cassie for doing that. But what I will say is she has opened the floodgates, because guess what's happening now? Cassie is now being sued by a former sex worker that she worked with. Let me find, I'm going to pull a video up of the man talking. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. This is big as hell, but let me pull up this video of the man talking, because this is getting interesting now. It's heating up now. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me fix this. Let me fix this, because it's heating up now. She has opened the floodgates, and the floodgates are open now. Okay, are we ready? Let's listen to what this fella has to say. And it's a 5-minute video, but all of it is important enough to listen to it all. So let's go ahead and do that. Give me a second.
So good morning. I am Dave, the man who has just sued Cassandra Ventura for damages involved in the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial. And I'm looking through social media, and I see a lot of the women out there, particularly black women like myself, who choose to victim shame me and try to do everything they can to discredit me, because the truth is that the loss of the Sean Combs trial was a loss to the Me Too movement and to hating women like the women who are trying to insult me. So let me tell you something, you women out there who would like to insult me. This is my story. I was paid by Cassandra Ventura, for 8 years to be her male provider. I didn't have to be the best looking guy. I was the best in bed. And because I was the best in bed, guess what? I was given this arrangement. I was coerced. I was drugged. I was manipulated with promises of money and gifts for over a period of 8 years to continue to be this woman's provider at her expense and at the expense of Diddy. Now, at the time, legally, I didn't know my rights as well as I do now. I didn't create this conflict with Cassandra Ventura. She created it with me. She's the one who decided to bring up things that happened over 10 to 15 years ago to hold Sean Combs accountable for what was a partial truth. She's the person who introduced me to the U.S. Attorney's Office. She's the person who told the U.S. Attorney's Office about our relationship. So in essence, those out there who want to hate on me, who want to say that I'm attacking Cassie, you should realize the truth, that Cassandra Ventura, your idol, did this to herself. She exposed herself to liability when she got on the stand and decided to mention me as the male escort who was with her when she overdosed and Diddy made her have sex with him. That was a lie, people. Cassie had just woke up from sleeping 8 hours. Myself and Sean Combs were exhausted. We wanted to go home. Cassie's the one who forced that sexual encounter. People, she tells you that Sean Combs made her have sex on her menstrual cycle. I can't speak for anyone else but myself. But I know the one time that did happen, that Sean Combs was not responsible for that Cassie, in a drunken, intoxicated, hormonally imbalanced state due to her period, manipulated and forced herself on me during her menstrual cycle. And what I mean by that is I had no knowledge she was on her menstrual cycle because the room was completely dark. She manipulated the room. She manipulated the environment to get what she wanted, and then she totally got up like I was the one who should have been grateful. You're on your period. That's disgusting, and I deserved more respect than that. As a man, if I had laid down with a woman and forced myself on her and orgasmed in her and she got up and it was leaking out of her, guess what? I would have raped her. So by statute, by case law definition, Cassandra Ventura sexually assaulted me. I'm not looking to destroy Cassie. I've given Cassie more than a year to settle this before things got out of control. The problem is she's being supported by women like you who choose to attack male victims instead of accept the truth, which is that a woman could have lied to get revenge on the ex-boyfriend who broke her heart and hurt her. It happens, people. They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and that's true. If you hurt some women, they will do everything in their power. If you hurt some men, they'll do everything in their power to hurt you. But I want to end this by saying this. Cassie did this to herself. They say he who sets out on the course of revenge should dig 2 graves. People, Cassie dug the grave that is Clayton Howard herself. Cassie got on the stand trying to destroy Diddy. She should have took her $20-30 million and walked into the sunset, people. She should have never gotten on the stand and created further liability for herself by telling more of the lie that she created to get this man sent to prison for his life. She made a mistake when she got on the stand, people. She made a mistake when she got on the stand and lied about the events with Clayton Howard. Clayton Howard is a victim of Cassandra Ventura. Clayton Howard didn't ask to be in a relationship with Cassandra Ventura while she was sleeping with numerous men per week. I get it. You all think I was a nasty male prostitute sleeping with women, all different women all the time. It actually didn't work like that. To have certain types of people that can pay you that well, what you really have to do is you have to focus on people who are affluent. And affluent people don't engage in activities like that. So I might have had a client once a month. The truth is I was only a male escort for 2 years. I continued in the profession because Cassie and Diddy continued to pay me very well. And I was an ex-con. I needed money. Yes, I was trapped in the situation. I'll admit that. I didn't know what to do. But does that mean I should be victim shamed because the same thing that happened to women all the time happened to me as a man? No. And for those women out there, for you black women who choose to shame me as a black man for telling my truth, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's probably pretty much all I have to say. You will not see me too much in the media. I don't need the public to believe me. I just need a jury of my peers and 12 people to believe me in the court. And thanks to the testimony of Cassie during the trial of Sean Combs, I have that. Thank you for watching. Stop victim shaming. Thank you.
Okay. All right, what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Clayton Howard, former male prostitute, sex worker, worked with Cassie Ventura for 8 years. For 8 years. He was only trying to do it for 2, got stuck in the system, got stuck in the twist, stuck in a blender because he was a felon, he had a record, he needed money. He didn't really know a better way to do it. So he went the route of sex work. Many people do it. You know what I mean? Like he said, this happens to women all the time and everybody understands their victimhood. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Some people are ignorant about it, but for the most part, people understand the victimhood of a person that's caught up in a sex work situation that they do not want to be in or that they have been coerced to be in or forced to be in, right? So he's saying Cassie opened the door for this. Pretty much, I didn't know that I was a victim back then. I didn't know my rights either. Now that I know my rights, now that I know what sex trafficking is, now that I know what sexual assault is, now that I know what sexual harassment is, and excuse me, now that I know that people can be held criminally and financially liable for those acts, I have my own lawsuit. Cassie opened up the door for this because Cassie is the one that hired me. Pretty much everything that they said about Diddy and Cassie and these other people, he's saying Cassie did that with him. So this is a very, very, very interesting situation we have going on here. This is a very interesting situation we have going on here. Of course, Cassie probably will not go to jail for whatever she had going on with Mr. Clayton Howard. But some of that money, though, I mean, she might have. Now, here's the thing. We still live in a society that does not really feel like men can be sexually assaulted in certain ways by women, right? For the most part, and this is just a conditioning of our society. We only think, not we, but I'm saying society, only thinks that women can sexually assault a man if she penetrates him from the back door, right? It's like it doesn't matter what the scenario is. If you hear a story where a man, his male member enters or penetrates a woman, it just does not, in society's mind, feel like that man was the one being violated. It's either that the woman was violated or it was consensual. That's the only two ways a penis is going into a vagina. Either the woman was violated or it was consensual. Those are the only options in many people's mind, right? The only time you see it where they might think differently is if the woman is older and the boy is underage. But that's the only time that they have really a different mindset around that. This man is saying no. Her being on her menstrual cycle while having sex with me, but not telling me about it because she kept the room dark and all this, that's assault. I didn't want to do that. That was against my will. That's a biohazard. That's disgusting. All this type of stuff, right? He has a point. Some people don't mess with the whole sex on the period thing. Some people don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So can we knock him for that? I don't know. I'm not going to knock him for it. But what I'm saying is, though, will a court see it that way? Will a jury see it his way? He said, I don't really need public opinion. I'm just clearing it up because I'm disgusted that so many people in our community are trying to shame me right now. That's why he made that video. He was just pretty much saying he couldn't believe the amount of black women that was getting at him crazy in the comments. I think the majority, like for the most part, what they was pretty much saying is that the dude wasn't good looking. So like he need to pretty much shut up and go back into whatever cave he was living in, right? They're pretty much saying you wasn't good looking. There's no way Cassie was letting you smash, right? So that's why he said, I don't have to be good looking. I was good in bed. He said that whole thing, right? That was because the comments did look very crazy. I'm not going to, when they first said that he was suing her, the comments looked crazy. So y'all have to let me know. What do y'all think? And that's going to roll me right into the debate of the week, right? That's going to roll me right into the debate of the week, which is, the debate of the week is, should a victim be held criminally or financially accountable for the role they played in a crime, right? And when I say debate of the week, I'm saying you pick your stance and you stay there. You argue that stance. You stand on that thing. Stand firm on that thing. Let me ask the question again. This is the debate of the week, the regular debate of the week, the first of its kind. Should a victim be held criminally or financially accountable for the role they played in a crime? Right? Now, let me give you an example here. Let me give you an example so that you understand what I'm saying. Let's use Cassie's situation. When it comes to her relationship with P. Diddy, she was a victim in the way that some of the acts that Diddy had her doing, she was coerced into doing because of the power dynamics between the two of them, right? She was in a position where this man held her career in the balance and he had the power to give her a career or take a career away from her, right? So pretty much anything he asked her to do that she didn't really want to do, she would still do it, and it's considered coercion, and sometimes it's straight force, right? Now, she's the victim in that situation. While doing that, she makes phone calls to get private sex workers to come have sex with them. That's a crime, right? Now, the victim in the situation is also actively engaging in other criminal behavior within that same situation. Do you feel like they should be held criminally or financially accountable? That goes into what Mr. Howard is trying to sue Cassie for, right? He's trying to sue her pretty much for her role in the situation. Now, will the court say, hey, she was under Diddy's control, so she really didn't have any autonomy to make any decisions like that. She was just under somebody else's control. She was under duress making these decisions, so she should be held. Or do you feel like, no, I don't care what you was a victim of, you should not be able to walk scot-free if you committed a crime, even if you were a victim on other parts of the crime. So I want to know what y'all think about that. And a lot of times this happens a lot in sex trafficking situations, honestly, because let's say like a pimp or something, right? He'll get one girl, right? Sex traffic her up and then use that girl to recruit a bunch of other girls for him, right? So that girl is a victim of sex trafficking, but then she started to recruit other girls into the sex trafficking operation, which makes her a participant and a perpetrator of this whole organization, right? Do you feel that that person should be punished just like if they were to pimp themselves, or just punished as a participant in the sex trafficking scheme or triangle or pyramid scheme? What do y'all think? That's the debate of the week. Y'all let me know what you think about that one. Let's move right on. Man, there's some heavy stuff out there, man. Heavy stuff out there. Oh man, let's do this one here, right? Because I seen it as just such ignorance, but I want to talk about it real quick. It's another video I want us to watch. And it is from Angela Yee's show, Way Up with Angela Yee. Give me a second. Let me pull this thing up. Hold on. Let me pull this puppy up here. Let me see here where we at. Look at that ignorant caption. Ignorant.
When you were on Sherry Shepherd, and Sam, I want you to weigh in on this too. Okay. Saying that if a man doesn't make at least $50,000 a year, he should not be dating.
No, ma'am, he should not.
All right. So first, I want to hear what Sam has to say. As a man, what are your thoughts about that statement?
No, I actually agree with that statement. Right? You could go out there and have fun, but you should not be dating something that you're hoping to progress. Right? Because
okay, these are adults. The man right here has gray hair. Right? So we're talking about mature people here, talking like this. Right? If you see the comment right over to the side, it says, Anthony Hundo, dudes got to be financially secure to date broke women. This is very odd, very interesting. But let's focus back on the people in the video. This is Angela Yee, a late 40s young lady, asking another woman who's probably in her 40s, and then another man who's also probably in his 40s. And they're saying that men should not date if they are making under $50,000 a year, right? Let's hear more.
Because if yourself is not right, how do you expect to help someone else be right and be right together, right?
Absolutely.
And go together. So I think if you're going to date, if you're going to look for a significant other that you're going to try to grow with, you got to make sure that your home is right first.
Stand up, Sam. Stand up, Sam.
Now, Coach Lee, tell me your thinking behind this, because this actually was a moment that
you got to make sure yourself is right first. Why is yourself not right making $50,000? I know people in like the coastal cities can't fathom that somebody can make $50,000 and live, but it's possible in America. Everywhere is not New York, San Francisco, LA, Chicago. Everywhere is not that. Actually, the majority of the country is not that. Right? So let's get back to whatever they're about to say to justify this.
This went crazy. It went mega viral. And I still stand on it, because imagine you being in a position where you realize you can't even Netflix and chill for free anymore. Netflix is $24, Sid.
You can never Netflix and chill for free. Netflix has costed money since the beginning of Netflix, but go ahead.
Netflix is $24.
We can't even share accounts like
You
we
can't
used to.
even share. So courtship costs, if we break it all down, he's going to spend his money, right? And so if he doesn't have any money to spend, how is he going to court you properly? You imagine being treated like a princess and all of the things, and how is he's supposed to show up in that relationship without money? So I encourage the men to sit down for a year. Sit down for a year. Don't put your mind onto anything other than getting to your bag. And when you do, the kind of women you get at the end of that year will put shame to the women that wanted you at the top of the year.
Oh.
I'm gonna tell you this. First of all, we're gonna dead this. I'm gonna tell you this. Firstly, this is not. Podcasts don't do this, like this type of content. Podcasts and podcasters don't do this type of content because they want to motivate men to get more money. Right? Let me say this again. Podcasts and podcasters that do this type of content do not do it to motivate men to get more money. What they do is they do this to manipulate women into buying into whatever strategies they're selling. A lot of times it's life coaching. A lot of times it's dating coaching. A lot of times they want to sell them some type of dating service. They want to sell them some type of matchmaking service, something like that. Right? It is not to get men to do anything but argue. Honestly, it's not really for anything. They're trying to manipulate women when they do this. Okay? Because men don't even like buy into these types of things. This does not alter how men see or think about anything. Right? So, first of all, the reason why I brought their ages up earlier is because it seems like anybody who talks like this, they don't have any good understanding of how money works at all. Right? Money works at all. Money works in the country. They don't understand the economy. In their head, all you have to do is work hard and you can just make more money. They don't have a concept of the idea that money in this country and in every country is finite, meaning the only way for you to get more money is for it to come from somewhere. Right? Meaning some people can get more money. Some people can sit down for a year and go increase their income somehow, but not everybody can do that. Right? In fact, the majority of people can't do that because that would require the people hoarding the most wealth, who we call billionaires, those people to release their funds back into the economy to be circulated back and trickled down into the people with less money. Right? But we know that's not happening because they have their funds and their funds are sitting somewhere. Most of the time in the value of their companies is really not even real dollars, but it's just sitting somewhere, right? It's being held up. The median income in America, we got to get into this. I know. The median income in America, hold on, is $39,982 as of 2023, right? And this information is essentially up to date because this is not always up to date. I mean, this is not always up to the date that we are right now. This comes from the Census Bureau, right? That's the median income for all people in America, right? The median income for men in America is $48,138, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, right? If the median income for men in America is not even $50,000, those were black people, so they were probably talking about the black community. So that means the median income for black people is probably even less than that. We can pull it up real quick. Let me just check. I'm pretty sure it's less than that. Give me a second. Let me pull up. Median black man. I put median black man income. Okay. So it's not too far less, but that's median household income for black Americans. Damn. The median black American household income is $46,000. Just think about this. Okay, hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can find just the median for black men only. Okay. They don't seem to have that by... They have by household, but they don't seem to have it by the racial thing broken out. Either way, right? Either way. The median male income in America is $48,000, right? A lot of people, when they get to researching this income stuff, they end up looking up average instead of median. You need to look up median. That gives you a more accurate view of what's going on in this country. And for people who don't understand this, let me just pull up a little image and we can read it together. The key difference between average or mean and median income lies in how they are calculated and what they represent. Average income is calculated by summing all incomes and dividing by the number of incomes, while median income is the middle income when all incomes are arranged from lowest to highest. The average can be skewed by a very few high and very few low incomes, making the median a more accurate representation of the typical income, especially in distributions with outliers. Okay, let's go back. So if the median income is $48,138, that means half the men in America make less than that, and half the men in America make more than that, right? Even the median income in this country, male income in this country, is not even 50,000. So what you're saying is, so there's about 140 million men in the country. How many men are in this country? Let me see. I'm typing with one hand, so it's nasty. Okay, nope. There's 174 million men in America, right? 174 million men. So that means, what's that? 87 million men make less, 87,200,000 men make less than 48,000 a year. 87,200,000 men make more than 48,000 a year. What does that mean? For all the people who don't make that, they can't just sit down for a year and increase their income to over 50,000. You know why? Because that will require promotions. That will require either they get out there and start selling something that may or may not sell. Like I said, that'll work for some people. Like, let's just say maybe 200,000 of them that will work for, where they can go increase their income and get up to 75,000 or 100,000, whatever like that. But let's just say everybody say, you know what, I'm going to make a career switch and I'm going to go do something that pays a lot of money. And then 80 million men just go out and become, data engineers or computer programmers or doctors or whatever. Like, do you think it's possible that, let's just say, even 10 million, do you think it's possible even 10 million men can go out and increase their income any significant level to where you people on Angela Yee's show are comfortable with their income where they can actually start dating now? No, it's not possible. There's not enough jobs for it to account for 87 million men going out and increasing their income above 50,000. It's not enough. And it don't work like that anyway. So I would say, before we in our old age get on podcasts having unintelligent conversations about relationships, let's go ahead and sit it on down, right? Let's sit down. Let's talk to somebody smarter than us, and let's find a better way to discuss dating in this country, right? Because I really don't want people to be, because you have so many impressionable people. This is Angela Yee. So Angela Yee have you on her show. People are going to take you as a credible source of information, right? I wouldn't, but some people are going to take you as a credible source of information. You was on Sherry Shepherd's show. So people look at you like you have some type of authority when it comes to dating and things like that. I don't know why they would, but they do. So I don't want to attack it from the standpoint of let's argue about if men should make this much money or not. I want to attack it from the standpoint of let's talk about how ignorant the people are who have and engage in these types of discussions. Let's more so discuss how these people don't fully understand the economics of the country and the fact that this many people cannot make that much money. It's not possible. There's a finite amount of dollars and resources, right? And jobs specifically. There's nowhere near enough jobs for that many people. And let's just say that 174 million are males, not men. So let's say that actual grown men is probably 105 million, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe more than that, maybe 110, 15 million. Either way, no significant portion of that group would be able to increase their income over $50,000. It's just the reality of this country. Some can, but most won't. It's not possible. So shout out to the people making their money off of trying to manipulate people into buying their ebooks or whatever the hell service they're selling. But very, very, very ignorant takes when y'all get engaged in these types of things. It's crazy because I hear a lot of this type of stuff from actual people who are otherwise intelligent, and you could tell that they're intelligent because, you know, knowing what they engage in when they're not talking about relationships and what type of work they do for a living. Because this relationship stuff does not pay their bills, most of them. What they engage in for a living, they're intelligent people. But for whatever reason, when it comes to podcasts, when it comes to trying to get clicks and views and likes and engagement and stuff like that, they get to saying some of the dumbest shit that you could ever think of about relationships. It's actually baffling. I just recently followed one lady who was on a pretty popular podcast based in Atlanta. I forget the name of it. But I followed her, right? And I'm like, I see what she's talking about on her podcast, but then like on her stories though, I'm like, oh, so she is stuck in like podcast topic mode. Like she can't even turn that off. People who engage in these type of convos too much, they don't talk like regular people anymore. They just, every time they start talking about relationships, they start talking as if they're on a podcast talking. And that's why so much of it sounds so idiotic. Because y'all have taken away, y'all have blurred the lines too much between entertainment and like how y'all really feel about dating. And I realized that. I'm like, okay, these people really have they can't turn it off. Like they just robots now. They just have to make like bad takes about relationships, whether on or off the mic. They just can't help it. It's kind of sad to see. It's like watching like a movie or something. And maybe it stands out so much to me because I ain't been in a dating pool for so long that it's weird when I hear the stuff that people say about relationships. I'm just like, where did you get that from? But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Men dating. Should we talk about if men should date, if they make under 50,000, or should we talk about how ignorant these people sound when they say men shouldn't date if they make under 50,000? I'd rather talk about the latter. Okay. Now, Trump, this is a crazy segue, but we got to talk about it. Okay, something happened this week, a few days ago. Actually, I'm recording this on the 4th of July, right? So Trump just signed today this big, beautiful bill act. House passed a sprawling domestic policy bill, sending it to Trump's desk. The Republican package would slash taxes, boost spending on immigration enforcement and the military, and impose steep cuts to Medicaid, SNAP, and clean energy funding. Right? So that's the GOP, you know, it's Congress, they're in there clapping, you know what I mean, signing stuff, clapping, smiling, all this. The big, beautiful bill. Extended tax cuts passed in its first administration. New military spending, money to fund mass deportation plan, steep cuts to food aid and benefits, clean energy funding, Medicaid. Okay, here's the thing about this, right? What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to like take a piece of this bill and read a little bit of it every week because it's 887 pages. There's no way that we can be able to cover this in a podcast, but I want us to know what's going on in this thing. So we have to cover it. We got to cover it. I'll start covering it now, and then we'll eventually get into, we'll eventually cover the whole thing, but we got to cover this thing in pieces because, like I said, 887 pages is OD. Let's read the article, though. Washington, the Republican-controlled House passed a multi-trillion-dollar package of tax cuts and spending Thursday, sending it to President Trump's desk after a tense 24 hours of negotiation and arm twisting. The mostly party line vote of 218 to 214, which came one day ahead of Trump's July 4th deadline, caps an arduous process that lasted more than 4 months, rife with ideological clashes and acrimony between the House and the Senate, where Republicans had little margin for error given the narrow majorities. In the end, the GOP largely unified to pack the bulk of Trump's domestic agenda into a single measure, with just Reps Thomas Massie of Kentucky and Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania voting against it. A block of Republican holdouts had initially opposed the procedural vote Wednesday to advance the bill, leading to an hours-long overnight standoff, but Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson, the Republican in Louisiana, managed to sway all but one of them, teeing up final passage in the House. So this thing caused issues. Only two Republicans ended up voting against it in the final vote. However, a lot of them, I say a lot, there was more that opposed it before the final vote, but I guess they changed their mind somehow. Maybe they got scared of repercussions, or maybe they got scared that Trump wasn't going to support them and support their opponent. Whatever it was, they changed their mind at the last minute. Trump is expected to sign the bill into law on Independence Day, marking the party's biggest legislative accomplishment since it took full control of Washington in January. Trump applauded Republicans after the bill passed Thursday, writing on Truth Social that the successful effort signaled a united Republican Party. The Republicans in the House of Representatives have just passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. One party is united like never before, and our country is hot. We are going to have a singing celebration at the White House, he wrote. All congressmen, We're going to have a signing celebration at the White House, he wrote. All congressmen, women, and senators are invited. Trump continued the praise Thursday evening at an event in Des Moines, Iowa, organizing to celebrate Independence Day. Okay, it's late. I'm falling apart right now. There could be no better birthday present for America than the phenomenal victory we achieved just hours ago when Congress passed the One Big Beautiful Bill to make America great again, he said, lauding the legislation as a declaration of independence from a national decline. This is where we see how nasty. 887 pages, right? The 887-page package, dubbed the One Big Beautiful Bill, extends the tax cuts Trump enacted in 2017 while temporarily slashing taxes on tips and overtime pay. It approved hundreds of billions in new spending on the military and carrying out Trump's mass deportation plans. It partly pays for all that with steep cuts to Medicaid, food aid benefits, and clean energy funding. That includes an estimated $930 billion in spending reductions under Medicaid, violating Trump's promise not to cut the program. So here's the thing about a lot of those rural old white people. They need, well, not rural old, but rural white people. A lot of people that voted for him need that Medicaid. That's what a lot of the Republicans who were opposed to it at first. That's the reason that they said they were opposed to it. It was like, we can't support anything that's cutting money from Medicaid, right? But then they changed their mind at the last minute. So you never know what type of threats or what kind of under the table money that they had got. Overall, the bill is projected to increase the national debt by $3.3 trillion over a decade, with the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office finding the revenue losses of $4.5 trillion outstrip the spending cuts of $1.2 trillion. The bill also increases the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Okay, here's the thing about stuff like this, right? One thing that you can no longer do, right, in this moment, you can do it as some things, but in this moment, what we can't do is, oh, see, y'all voted for this. See, this is what y'all get. Y'all voted for Trump. Y'all voted for. I'm going to tell you why we can't do that, right? What should be happening is Democrats need to be putting together the fight of their life when it comes to next year's midterm elections. What they need to be doing is saying, we need to get as many Democrats to win as we possibly can. How that happens, you start by stopping the disrespect of black voters. No more booties to the polls, no more twerking and voting, no more voting and vucking, no more of these dumbass slogans y'all come up with to annoy black people. All right? No more pulling up with KFC buckets to the people's houses and barbershops and all this stupidity. What you need to be on is, we are going to fix these things for you, black people specifically, and we are going to do, and black people will give you what you need. You give us what we need, you'll get what you need from us. Gone are the days of anything else. Because right now what you're seeing pretty much is what they're doing is doing what just they want to do. because y'all did not serve the people who helped y'all the most, right? Y'all didn't want to serve black people specifically. You actually wanted to serve everybody but black people, and look what happened. You wanted to serve everybody but black people. Those people still went and voted for Trump, and now look what's going on, right? So the way that you fix this is you put your energy into giving black Americans what we are asking for. If you can't give reparations right this minute, if you can't fight for reparations right this minute, guess what? There's a whole bunch of other stuff that can be fought for. You understand? There's a whole bunch of other things that can be worked on. Fixing the funding issues in black schools everywhere. Black schools everywhere in America need help. Bad. K through 12 system, colleges, all of them in black areas need help. More help than everybody else is getting. Can't give them the same money. You can't give less. Increase spending on black education. That's one thing. And there's a whole bunch of others, right? There's a whole bunch of others. So, you know what I mean? You want to increase spending on down payment assistance programs for black people. The people that, and you don't even got to make that about slavery and reparations for slavery. You make that about the predatory lending stuff that had so many black people lose their home ownership in the last 15 years, right? So that's where we get the down payment assistance program that y'all gonna get specifically for black people, because that specifically, we were targeted when it came to that, right? There's a bunch of programs that y'all can start, but you need to start pushing it now. Start pressing it now, because what y'all are seeing right here, this is y'all fault. This ain't nobody else's fault, because guess what? Even if people wasn't voting for Kamala, they damn sure vote for Democratic representatives. You know what I mean? The local Democrats got the votes locked up, but y'all just didn't galvanize enough people to get enough votes to beat out these Republicans. That's y'all fault. So what y'all need to be doing is putting a plan together right this minute. Right this minute. And we want reparations eventually. So get, you know what I mean, put it in your mind. You can put it in the back of your mind for now. Do what you got to do to handle this for now. But then reparations need to come back to the front of the conversation at some point. Republican leaders celebrate. Throughout the process, Republican leaders had Republican leaders had an ace in the hole to corral the votes, even as the competing demands of rival factions appeared irreconcilable. They knew their members wouldn't ultimately say no to Trump, from the most conservative to the least ideological and politically vulnerable. Republicans in Congress have succeeded in our mission to enact President Trump's America First agenda, Johnson said in a joint statement with the leadership team. And importantly, we did it in a record time so that the efforts of this nation shaping legislation can be felt by the American people as soon as possible. The crazy thing about it is Trump just got in there 6 months ago. That's the crazy thing about it. It's been less than 6 months for real. And so much has happened already. Republicans often turn to Trump throughout the process to help close the deal on key votes. He regularly held meetings and made phone calls to key lawmakers while issuing the occasional Trump threat on Truth Social to holdouts who stood in the bill's way. Vice President J.D. Vance was also a regular presence in the Senate and House meetings about the bill. Okay. There's a lot here, and it's a lot to read, but you see this? This is all the stuff that they cut. We can just go through the table of contents as long as hell. Hold up. Hold on. The table of contents alone is long as hell. Let's just go through some of what they're getting into. The Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry. They got a nutrition subsection. They got a forestry. They have a commodities in here. They're covering disaster assistance, crop insurance, additional investments in rural America. Committee on Armed Forces. You already know that's where all the money is going to. Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. Committee on Energy and Natural Resources. So oil and gas leasing is first, mining is second. Land, energy, water. Committee on Environment and Public Works. Man, it's a lot. Finance, you got tax, you got providing permanent tax relief for middle-class families and workers. Delivering on presidential priorities to provide new middle-class tax relief. No tax on tips. And you know what I'm saying? You see that they're getting rid of tax on overtime. And I can't be fully mad at that one because I'm trying to get my overtime up there. establishing certainty and competitiveness for American job creators, permanent U.S. business tax reform and boosting domestic investment, permanent America First international tax reform, foreign tax credit, foreign derived deduction eligible income and net CFC tested income, base erosion minimum tax, business interest limitations, other international tax reforms. Let's see here. Investing in American families, communities, and small businesses, permanent investment in families and children, permanent investment in students, and reforms to tax-exempt institutions, permanent investment in community development. Like, I can't wait to read into these things. Like, permanent investment in small businesses in rural America, ending Green New Deal spending, promoting America First energy and other reforms, termination of Green New Deal subsidies, enhancement of America First energy policy, other reforms, enhancing deduction and income tax credit guardrails and other reforms. Health, you got the Medicaid joint up in there, reducing fraud and improving enrollment processes, preventing wasteful spending, stopping abusive financial practice, increasing personal accountability, expanding access to care, Medicare, strengthening eligibility requirements, improving services for seniors, health tax, improving it. Like, it's a lot, man. You can't even read through all. The table of contents is like 12. It was like 11 pages. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy, man. But like I said, I can't wait to read this though. The Thrifty Food Plan. Let's just scroll and just pick a random page and just like see what's on it. Let's see what's on it. Let's see. Let's pick another random page. Let's pick a random page. Enhancing deduction and income tax credit guardrails, and let's see what they're talking about. Rule made permanent. Amending by striking and before. Okay. Adjustment of amounts for calculations, excess business loss. In the matter proceeding clause 1 by striking December inserting they got real legal with this shit. Hold up. The amendments made by subsection shall apply to tax years beginning this and this. Adjustment of amounts for calculation of excess business loans. The amendments made by subsection B shall apply to taxable years beginning after December 31st, 2025. Treatment of payments for... Okay, so yeah, there's just a bunch of... So that table of contents is that long because there's a bunch of little tiny sections. All right. How do y'all feel about this big, beautiful business bill that Trump is out here pumping, right? They're saying that there are some programs being absolutely destroyed. People are saying the Pell Grant is out of here. They're saying that this, Medicaid is hit, is a wrap, it's whacked now, it's gonna miss a lot of money, and a lot of people won't be covered, all this type of stuff. Funding for schools, scholarships, all this type of stuff, grants, loans, out of here. So it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. And we will see how it goes from here, man. Oh, man. Now, from there, we have to get right into the case of the week. The case of the week is a crazy one because I'm very surprised at myself. I had not heard about this case before. And I don't know how I'd never heard of the case. But I haven't heard of the case. And they said it was one of the most talked about cases in the country. But like I said, I did not know. Let's see if y'all have heard about this case of the week. Brian Kohlberger admits to Idaho student murders as victims' families remain torn over the outcome. Now, if you have heard about this case, here's the latest update. This is from July 2nd, 2025. So he just took a plea deal and pled guilty to the murders. For the last since December 2022, when he first got caught, he had been maintaining his innocence. Hey, I didn't do that. I don't know what happened. I didn't do it, whatever. And so up until all the way this week, up until all the way this week, man, not my man, but this dude has maintained that he was innocent. Let's see what the news article had to, what the video, because I didn't even watch the video. I read the article. Let's watch it, see what they talking about. Let me get this off my screen, man. I'll put it back up there when this comes on. But this is a very crazy case, though. I think y'all should look it up after I talk about it, or you can just take my word for it and then give your feedback, because I'm really about to read directly from this article.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogan, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
Did you, on or about that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Kaylee Gonzalez, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
And did you, on that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
And then on or about November 13th, 2022, again in Latah County, Idaho, did you kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being?
Yes.
Did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
Okay. So y'all heard that. He pled guilty. He said, yeah, I did all that. I did that. He said he did it. Let me get that out the way. Let's read. For 30 months, Brian Kohlberger and his defense attorneys insisted on his innocence in a fatal stabbing, stabbings of 4 University of Idaho students in their off-campus home. But in a matter of minutes on Wednesday, in a packed courtroom roughly 300 miles from the horrific scene of the crime, everything changed. Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? The judge asked. Kohlberger said yes. Did you, on November 13, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder? The judge asked. Yes, Kohlberger said again. That is crazy. It's like, yo, I went in there with the intent to commit this murder. So that's premeditated, right? 4-piece premeditated. So he got to get life for all 4 of them things. Let's keep reading. And because this is the case of the week, I'm going to read this whole article. This is a great article that gives a lot of details because now a lot of the information is out now, right? A lot of info is out now about what was going on in this case. There was a gag order put in place. We'll get to that. It was the first time the public had heard anything directly from the lone suspect in a gruesome crime that shocked the nation. Didn't shock me. I didn't know about it. And it was to say what prosecutors had alleged all along. He did it. The remarkable change of plea hearing cements a deal that allows Kohlberger to avoid the death penalty in his highly anticipated murder trial by admitting guilt to charges of burglary and first-degree murder in the gruesome late-night killings of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Madison Mogan. The deal ends a tumultuous case that included a cross-country hunt for the suspect and a pre-trial legal battle that involved several attempts by the defense to have the charges dismissed or the death penalty taken off the table. The announcement of the deal comes after several judges' rulings that would have narrowed the defense's strategy options at trial. Let's keep reading. As Kohlberger, a 30-year-old former PhD student of criminology, confirmed his guilt to State District Judge Stephen Hippler, one of the victim's family members silently wept as other loved ones listened intently. After the plea, prosecutor Bill Thompson delivered a lengthy outline of the evidence that would have been presented against Kohlberger at trial, including phone records that placed him near the victim's home and an account of how he moved through the home on the night of the killings. He also revealed that prosecutors did not know whether Kohlberger entered the home with the intent of killing all 4 students. We will not represent that he intended to kill all of the that he intended to commit all of the murders that night. That he did that night, but we know that is what resulted, and that he killed intentionally, willfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and with the malice aforethought. Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Carnotto, Thomas said, appearing to choke up as he read their names. Thompson also nodded to Kohlberger's deep fascination with criminal cases as a criminology student, saying the defendant had studied crime. In fact, he did a detailed paper on crime scene processing, and he had knowledge and skill. Several key questions were left unaddressed, including what drove Kohlberger to carry out the killings, why he targeted the students, and why 2 other roommates were spared. That's a crazy thing too that I you know what I'm saying, I guess we'll never find out. What it kind of seems to me, let me take this down real quick. What it kind of seems like to me is this dude must want to be a famous killer. He must want movies and shows and books to be written about him. And he's also, I feel like, being helped by the court. Because why would they? So what they did was, when the case first, I guess, started to really go big, the judge put a gag order on everybody in the case, pretty much saying that y'all can't talk about this case in public at all. Not the family, not the defendant, not the defendant's lawyers, not the prosecution, not anybody in this courtroom. None of y'all and the family's lawyers, none of you all can speak about this case publicly at all. Which made me think, why are they trying to get people not to talk about this case? This is a huge case. But what do they feel like? Oh, the jury might get swayed. So what? The jury already would be swayed if they heard about this thing, which they say they haven't had a murder in that area in 7 years. So that jury that's from that area, they would have known all about this case anyway. The only thing that you would be trying to stop from coming out is his background. But why are you trying to stop his background from being coming out? We see criminal defendants all the time have their whole background plastered all over the news, where they live, what their mom did when they was growing up, all type of stuff. We even seen black victims get their whole background plastered all over the news. So why this dude was getting a gag order put in place to stop people from being able to talk about his background and his disposition to crime and how sick of a person he was, or any of that? Why would a judge put it? It seemed like they was helping to protect him, right? To me, that's how I see it. Several key, let me put the thing back up. Several key questions were left unaddressed, including we already said that. Oh, it was interesting. There was 2 more people in the house that he did not kill. The families of the 4 victims who desperately awaited answers they believe would be revealed at trial remain torn over the outcome of the deal. Mogen's parents have expressed their support. Her father, Ben Mogen, told the Idaho Statesman he viewed the deal as an opportunity to avoid the pain and spectacle of a trial and focus on healing. These are the victims right here, these 4 people. I'm assuming they keep showing them together because, we'll read. This is he went and killed this girl, then he went and found this man in bed and killed him too. At least one parent, Steve Goncalves, told CNN he felt blindsided by the announcement, which came just days after he and other loved ones urged prosecutors to pursue the death penalty. So this family wanted them to get the death penalty. The Goncalves family members, in a statement Wednesday, said they expected more answers from Wednesday's hearing. Today was the day for answers, the day to find out what happened, to find out really anything about what the defendant did that night, why he took the lives of 4 beautiful people. At least that's what we hope for, but hope is really all we had today. The family statement read. On the burglary charge, Kohlberger will face a sentence of 10 years. He will face a life sentence for each of the 4 counts of first-degree murder. The 5 counts will run consecutively. So, I mean, if they did want him to suffer, he will definitely suffer because he's about to get 4 life sentences plus 10 years. He's going to get that, right? And he's only 30 years old, so he's going to have to spend every single day of the rest of his life in there being tortured with the fact that he did that and for no reason, honestly. just because he wanted to see what it felt like, honestly, as a criminology student. The 5 counts will run consecutively. Kohlberger waived his right to appeal the plea and sentence and to seek leniency and consideration of the sentence later. So he waived his right for all of these things. So pretty much the only thing he wanted was to not get the death penalty, which is very strange because you're knowing that you're about to get 4 counts of life, or you're about to get 4 life sentences run consecutively. So why wouldn't you want to just get killed? I don't understand that. However, Kohlberger's sentence hearing has been set for July 23rd at 9 a.m. and he will remain in jail until then. Kohlberger will no longer be allowed to appear in civilian shirt and a tie he usually wears for hearings, Hippler said. The next time he sets foot in the courtroom, he will be dressed in prison garb because now he's convicted. So now it's a wrap. It's a wrap for all that looking good in court stuff. New evidence emerges as question lingers. A pile of questions over the killer's method and motives have haunted the case since the 4 students were discovered stabbed to death in their home near Moscow with no signs of forced entry. Though prosecutors have previously shared some evidence to support their charges against Kohlberger, a sweeping gag order has prevented both parties from sharing insight into a case that has scarred the small college town. But Thompson on Wednesday laid out a timeline of evidence that would have presented at trial, which included small revelations about Kohlberger's path through the home and the searches of the home and his meticulously cleaned car. Early on the morning of the murders, prosecutors said Kohlberger parked his car behind the student's home and slipped in through the sliding glass door in the kitchen in the back. Once inside, he headed to the 3rd floor and fatally stabbed Mogen Goncalves, Thompson said. In a crucial mistake, Kohlberger left behind a knife sheath on which investigators found DNA they would later identify as Kohlberger's, the prosecution added. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I'm reading. Early on the morning of the murders, prosecutors said Kohlberger parked his car behind the student's home and slipped in through the sliding glass door to the kitchen. There were 6 people in that crib that night. 2 of them did not get killed. 4 of them got killed. How did he know that kitchen door would be open for him to slide through it? For the most part, almost all sliding doors, especially on kitchens like that, they do not have a locking mechanism on the outside that you can just pick the lock or put a key in to unlock or something like that, right? Somebody on the inside would have had to leave it open. Not only that, somebody on the inside would have had to leave it open, and this Kohlberger fella would have had to know that they left it open. I'm not saying that the other roommates had anything to do with it. I'm only saying that it's weird that he knew at night that thing would be open, right? Because let's just say if it wasn't open, right? Was he going house to house looking for somebody's thing to be open and he just happened to find theirs open and he went in? Or was he following them around? But we won't know. See, that's the thing about with them not making him give his motive and like, why did you do that type of thing? They could have made him say anything in his plea hearing. And if he declined to say it, they could have told him, we're not accepting your plea of guilt. We're going to take this to trial. They could have done that, but they decided not to. Did he know that sliding door to the kitchen was open? Or was he testing a bunch of them out because he just wanted to kill somebody that night? So he goes up in there and they say, in a crucial mistake, Kohlberger left behind a knife sheath on which investigators found DNA they would later identify as Kohlberger. So he studies crime scenes. He was working on his PhD, so he already had his bachelor's, his undergrad, and he had his postgrad. He had his master's, and all related to crime scene and criminology and stuff like that, right? Yet, not only does he leave evidence, but he leaves evidence with his DNA on it at the scene of the murder. How did he know to go straight to the 3rd floor to kill those people? Right? He comes in through the kitchen. Once inside, he headed to the 3rd floor and fatally stabbed Mogen Goncalves. First of all, how does the prosecution know that he did that one first? I mean, I guess you could get times, like estimated times of death, but why would they say it with such confidence, like they knew exactly what order he killed these people in when it was within a very short period of each other, right? So he came through a door that he really shouldn't known was unlocked, but he knew because there was no forced entry. He didn't break anything, right? Somehow he just knew it was open. He slid it open. Then he goes straight to the third floor and killed 2 people. How did he know that anybody was on the third floor? How did Kohlberger know that anybody was on the third floor? Why would he assume that that whoever he might have been looking for wasn't on the second floor? Well, how did he know? Investigators homed in on Kohlberger as a suspect by pulling DNA from his parents' trash. His father's discarded Q-tip contained DNA that lab tests determined likely belonged to the father of the person whose DNA was left on the knife, Thompson revealed. That doesn't make sense to me. They say investigators homed in on Kohlberger as a suspect by pulling DNA from his parents' trash. His parents lived in Pennsylvania. So I would like them to tell how he became a suspect in the first place, because by the time they went all the way to Pennsylvania, that means they already felt like he was the main suspect, right? His parents lived in Pennsylvania. So I would like to find out how they even got him as a suspect at all. Okay, because yeah, you have the DNA thing, but you need to match the DNA up. So what would make him go match that DNA or try to match it up with those parents all the way across the country? So that doesn't tell how what was going on here. Kernodle, whose room was on the second floor, was still awake as Kohlberger began the killings, Thompson said. How did they know that? She had recently made a food delivery order after returning home from a late night out. As the defendant was either coming downstairs or leaving, he encountered Xana, and he ended up killing her also with a large knife. Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend, was asleep in her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well, Thompson told the court. One of the 2 surviving roommates woke as Kohlberger was leaving the house and looked out her room to see Kohlberger dressed in black clothing in a balaclava, leaving the home, the prosecutor said. As Kohlberger fled on rural back roads, surveillance cameras captured his car speeding through the area. Thompson said the car almost loses control as it makes a corner. A harrowing weeks-long hunt for the suspect ensued, including, okay, so they found out, they started looking for him because they saw the car on camera. Okay, I get it. The harrowing weeks-long hunt for the suspect ensued, concluding when Kohlberger was arrested at his parents' Pennsylvania home. He had driven across the country in his white Hyundai Elantra seen at the crime scene. But when investigators searched the vehicle, they found it had been cleaned and disassembled internally. The murder weapon, which investigators say is a fixed blade knife, has never been found, and it is still unclear why Kohlberger carried out the killings. He was not required to make detailed confessions in court on Wednesday. Okay. That is my case of the week. I think it is a very crazy case. I think even though dude is about to get completely smoked in sentencing, I still think they should have made him explain why the hell he did that. How did you find them? What made you choose them? And why did you do that? This man was actually, so Idaho and Washington are next to each other. He lived in Washington. He was going to school at Washington State, and he was in a PhD program, right? So for some reason, he traveled over to Iowa to kill some Iowa State students. I think they were Iowa State, I think. Let me see. Not Iowa, Idaho, sorry. Idaho, was it Idaho State? Oh, no, University of Idaho. So he traveled across the state lines to kill some University of Idaho students. Excuse me for misspeaking, right? Did he know who they were, or did he just drive over there and pick any random people he could find? Right? So the roommates was peeking out as he was leaving. He didn't, like the ones who survived. He didn't kill them, but the other roommate who peeked out as he was leaving, he went and killed her. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who these people are, but it seems like these other people set them up. Now, I don't know if it was a setup. I don't know why he wouldn't have just told on the other roommates. So it probably wasn't a setup, and I probably just like desensitized to a situation like this. But it is very crazy that he found them, and Idaho is right there. So it's not like he was, you know what I'm saying, he didn't have to drive hours to go get to where they was at. But still, though, it's just crazy that he would go up in there. He knew that the sliding door was open. He knew to go to the third floor to kill those people. He came down, killed the girl that just ordered some food. Then another girl pops out, killed her. Like, what caused that? They should have made him explain it, man. I don't know. But please let me know in the comments what you think about this week's The Regular Case of the Week. And I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear what you think about it. If you have any suggestions of a case I should look at next week, please let me know, or any week following right now. Let me know. We want to really get into some interesting cases. It don't have to just be celebrity cases. We want to get into some interesting joints, right? So that is all I got for y'all. Please hit the like button. Please share the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please comment your thoughts below. Please do the survey. If you have not done it, you don't have to do it multiple times. Do the survey in the description. And I appreciate y'all for the support and everything like that. We getting ramped back up. So, you know what I mean? Case of the week, debate of the week. The regular case of the week and the regular debate of the week. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Should a victim be held financially and criminally liable in a case where they end up committing crimes? That's the debate of the week. All right. I'm up out of here, man. Y'all have a good evening or a good week. Peace.